Hello. Today I am working on something that if you have looked at my channel, you've probably seen before. So I have been working on this corset, not for very long. This was just an experiment, and it has a few problems with it, which from a distance, you don't really notice that much. Um, but the problem with it is that these buttons, as you can see, there is a problem with the model of the buttons, like the 3D model, and so there is a lot of Z fighting. So I need to remake them. And also, if I can show you, they are hovering just outside of the corset because I was having a problem with them uh, fighting with the mesh of the corset. And oh, that was such a big issue. And these ones are sitting just inside the mesh, which is also a problem. But it was more of an experimentation to see how it could be done and what it would look like, and also to create a quite unique shape. So I had this kind of away from the body, um, because I wanted to create a different shape. I didn't mean to have this bit as away from the body, but I'm not 100% sure why it doesn't just sit flat. But um, I'm not too concerned about it because I like the way it looks, and I did change the Chloe 3D figure to make her have a slightly smaller waist because I wanted the corset to have more of that shape. So, what am I doing? So I am going to, I think, add a few more elements to this and make it a part of another kind of exhibition thing that I'm trying to do. I want to make a few foundational garments and then edit them. And I really would like to go back to my very first garments. I think this was the second thing I ever made in Chloe. And I'd really like to go back and see how could I change this? What um, do I want to do differently within it? So I would really like to make some ruffle pants or some pants with ruffles on them, which I did already make actually. I don't know. I quite like how plain these are. I wonder. Oh, I actually wonder if I do this 42. Let's make that just 42. Press OK. And if I turn that into a point and then delete the notch, and yeah, lovely, that's done on both toys. And if I make this, oh gosh, what was it 42 or 44? I can just check. 44. I do like that about Chloe, that it's so easy to just double check your measurements and get them all right. Add a point, delete the notch, and what am I going to do? I'm going to delete the sewing because what I'm trying to do is add a like a little slit opening. Hmm. So now that that notch is there, I should be able to move this over. I want to slightly exaggerate it because it's quite stretched, and yes, that's what I want. Yes, I am aware of that. Hopefully this won't mess anything up. That seems to be fine. And and that still seems to still be sewn together. So all good things. I think another thing I might want to do is lower this slightly. What's quite nice is that I can lower it because it's not attached to the back without it affecting the back. So actually, I think I might prefer that up there. And then what else I really want to do is add a little bit of a curve. Oh, but I don't. Do I want to curve the line maybe? Oh, I need to turn up the thing, otherwise it will make no difference. And then put it back to this and have that be slightly lower. And now I have this, I can actually change the anchor of the curve and not this. You know what? I just want to select pieces and I want to change this to 10 so I can get, yeah, that's what I wanted. Because when the particle distance is quite is higher, you get these missed out gaps where it doesn't have as smooth a shape. Obviously, it takes more rendering and it's harder on the computer, but as you can see, there is a gap here, but now I have this smooth shape. So if I put it down to, let's say, 5, not 50, it would get even smoother, and then I'd see it here. But when it was back up at 20, just in case you didn't see, it cuts that out because it's trying to make that it's using the mesh that's underneath. So I think I did it at 10, but I don't know if I need 10 because this bit's really curved. That bit's very pointy. So let's see, 10. And I think that is okay. I just need to curve that side a little bit more. But now that I've added a curve, it means that there is an anchor point there that I can just curve. Um, but yeah, so there is a level of still being able to understand meshes that is important for um, editing in Clo. And it's interesting because it has that balance between knowing about patterns and sewing and materials and drape and all of that element of fashion, as well as knowing about the 3D modeling elements, um, just enough so that you can understand the mesh. So this is the mesh. This is what's underneath and kind of gives it its shape. So as you can see, this one I have lowered quite a bit to 10, and so it's got so the mesh is much more intricate, giving it a much smoother shape, whereas the corset, the mesh isn't as complicated as you can see, and honestly it doesn't need to be because I want the corset to have that really rigid shape, and so it really doesn't matter that it's not. I mean, we could even raise it to 30 and let me see if I can show you. Yep, so as you can see, this one is even less complex than the 20. And what if I raise it to 40? It's good, it's nice to see the experimentation. So there, we've got really, really simple mesh compared to the quite complex one down there. And, you know, when you actually look at it, sorry, I need to render that because I realized that they're trying to mirror each other, and obviously one of them moved and the other one didn't. But so when you look at it, you can see that the shape is not as smooth, and like you've got that crease here that you don't have in the other ones because of the mesh. And so it is that element of kind of like knowing what shape you actually want to achieve and what you want it to look like. So that curve is something that actually for a corset I might want depending on what I'm looking for, but at the same time it might create an angle that I think, oh, that's not really what I'm looking for. So I'm going to put that back to, excuse me, 20. And yeah, so now I need to think about what I'm actually going to do with this. So I know that for one element, I am actually going to remove the model completely so that I can, there we go. So I'm going to do that later on so that I can actually see inside the garment and just have the garment with no model, because I have a signature garment and this is kind of like a secondary garment to that. So I'm just working on this model just so I can see the body to help me put everything in place. So now I am going to just do some saving of things. So give me 1 second. Right, so that is now saved, and it's now called Stitch for Your, it should be Stitch for Your Viewing Pleasure, but it's Stitch for Your Pleasure. Um, right, so now one of the things I really want to add to this is um, I really want to have this have some interesting shapes on it. So I'm not sure how best to do this. Well, first of all, I am going to change the color of this just to put it more in line with the colors I've been using. So I've been focusing on an orange because I quite like orange. And I want to change this and this to about there. And not all the way down, but about 30 is what I want. There we go. And so that one's not going to change color because those are the bits of the corset that are completely see-through. So for example, this corset is actually being held together by these fabrics, which took me a long time to put in place so that they weren't z-fighting with each other, but these holes in the circle, they are actually a fabric. They just have the opacity turned down to 0 so you can't see them, but they do exist. um, I really like the normal map on this, so I feel like I'm going to leave it, but I am going to change the color to something more gold. Oh, I really don't like that. Um, Maybe I should just go completely for a different color. Or maybe I should go for black. I might go for black instead. Right. And oh, I did want to have a bow, and I've never done a bow before. But let's have a look. See. Hmm, would it be in ribbons? Okay, I will have to deal with that another day because I can't understand why I can't find a bow. And these, I want to edit these because I have given them a silvery color, but I'm actually leaning towards, yes, maybe something more bronze. Maybe I should just go like full orange. I don't think so. I might just go for gold. Um, is that too gold? That gold doesn't seem right. It seems a bit too yellowy, whereas this one seems to have an orange tinge to it. I might stick with that one and do the same for this, even though I should have probably looked at it before I decided that. Um, ah, that's interesting. Ah, there we go. Um, oh, would it be more interesting to have it be a completely unusual color? I don't know. I mean, the way that that catches the light is quite interesting, actually. But actually, maybe that might be more interesting. I'm just trying to think of the colors that are actually within the rest of the collection to try and make it consistent. Oh, right. I didn't actually pick it. It's just telling me what I used last time. Right. I quite like that actually. That's quite nice. Um, I am wondering if having, oh, whoops, didn't mean to do that. Every single panel the same color is a bit boring actually. Um, I don't know. What is this? Oh, these are the pants. Let's have you be that color. All right, I am already much happier with that. Now, unfortunately, this garment cannot be animated because of the issues with the Z fighting of the buttons and rings. So it will be just a static garment. I might have the animation of it spinning just to give that illusion of movement. Right, I need to change the top stitch. Now, where is that top stitch applied? The texture is fine. The color, mm, I might just have it be black, I think. And I don't think I'm using this for anything at the moment, but I'll have that be that. And that's it, I think. I don't think I have any graphics. I've done the buttons. I actually don't think I have any buttonholes. And they already have a color. This already also exists. I will not be needing that. What is this again? I don't think I'm using that either. Okay, the only thing I do not have is I don't think the binding has a color. Oh, is that because I've made it the same fabric? What if I do that? Oh, but it's not consistent. That's the problem. It's not showing through on every bit. Oops, I pressed the wrong button. Well, I think first I'll see if I can get it to be under and over. Sorry, Theron. And then I will see what that actually looks like and whether I like it. That one can be that one, and I think it should be just make them all both. Sorry, very thirsty. But this is definitely a garment I'm going to have to make a version 2, just completely restarting and redoing this. I think the method at the back is actually quite useful. It just it doesn't seem to like animating, so oh, excuse me, definitely going to have to find an alternative method for that. But other than that, I need to redo these completely. I'm kind of leaning towards that actually. I need to have these be a different color because now they don't show up. Now I've got the binding. I suppose logically they could be a completely different color to the back as long as it's still in line with my other thing. So I'm just going to have a look so that I can sort of see what colorings I was using. Oh, I'm hoping this opens a PNG file and not the actual file because I haven't actually saved. Don't forget to save. It's one thing that's super important and I always forget. But pretty. Nothing quite, nothing quite like it. Okay, so this is the kind of like main showstopper garment. It actually does have a underbust corset underneath it, but that's more to put it in line with everything else as opposed to for functional purposes. So um, I went for that dark green, the orange, a dark orange, a black, and that lighter turquoise. That is useful to know. So still, so I'd gone for that orange and the slightly darker one. Should I go for the completely darker one? And then black. I might just have it as black because the stitching is black, so, and the threading and the corset binding at the back is black, so it does actually make sense. Okay, sorry. I was trying to think. There should be a gap somewhere here, and there is not. And I've just noticed that one's on the outside. It should be on the inside. But I don't want to mess with it. I'll have to mess with it later. I'll have to freeze the rest of them and just edit that one. And and that should be fine. But I also need to get back to this and select the binding that's going along the edge here. And I feel like I want to, for the moment, can I duplicate this? Nope, that's not the right button. No, that's also not the right button. Copy, there we go. And change that to that lighter one, which is very subtly different, but is different. And if we change that to that one and make it both, I'm assuming that that's loading. Right, I am quite pleased with that. Okay, so now I need to think about the other elements. I'm just going to save that quickly. So, okay, I'm going to just make I kind of want my own shape, so I'm going to use the polygon tool and so in my mind, this bit is going over the shoulder. This bit will be hanging down. And then now I've done that wrong, but I don't want to delete the whole thing. I just want to redo that bit. And I want it to be slightly gathered, so there we go. Now, this may or may not work, but what did you just drop there on? What did you drop? Oh. Okay, so I think that if I actually, it really doesn't matter which way it does it as long as it does do it. Okay, so yes, I want this to come up. Why can't I lift this up and over? Oh, up and up and over. Ugh, I've got it caught in her hair now. Oh, one problem at a time, I think. Mm. Really? Okay, so now I should be able to let that go. Oh, but it's too heavy. So, oh, wrong button. So copy, and I need a I'm trying to look for a I know there's a chiffon. Is it a silk chiffon? It's a silk crepe. Silk chiffon. Right, okay. And I want to symmetric paste with sewing. And I also want to add a notch just there so that I can add a point. I'm not measuring because it doesn't have to be specific because I am simply sewing it to itself. I might need to zoom in to make sure I'm actually sewing it straight and not twisted. Okay, let's try this again. Yes, we will. I'll have to move those around afterwards. But lovely. Okay, so now that's sewn to itself. That is annoying that that keeps doing that. Hmm. I feel like I might have accidentally twisted them in a, like, have I twisted? Oh, I have twisted this sewing. All right, so let's delete that and try again. So maybe if I start with this and then that and try that, see if that untwists it, because I want it to gather, but I don't want it to twist. Is that working? Because this bit's most definitely okay. But I need the corset to go back to the shape it was. Hmm. Maybe attaching it to the corset wasn't a great idea. Maybe I should just attach it to itself because it will still drape, and that might be better. That might be better. Let's try it. Yes, I accept all consequences. So I'm hoping that this will mean that the oh, how I'm not using this, I can probably delete it. There we go. Go back to a time when everything was okay. Okay. So if I'm attaching it to itself, I only need to move that. Oh, and then I still need the point, don't I? Might have it at an angle and then have the point be there. Again, not measuring because it really doesn't matter in terms of the actual outcome, because this is just meant to be draped. But it might be a good idea to at least position it. It's so hard to tell sometimes how close or far away it is. Oh, why is that not? There we go. It was. It just from the angle I was looking at, it didn't look right. Okay, so now if I close this with symmetry sewing, I could have just done it with symmetry. Actually, it really doesn't matter about sewing because I don't want it to duplicate sewing to itself. That would be mind-boggling and silly. Okay. I see what I've done wrong here. That's probably an easier way to do that. Well, and that was probably it. Well, you know, sometimes second time round, more experience, that's the charm. I do want it to drape over the shoulders, so having it in a position that makes it the easiest for it to do that is most desirable. Oh, twisting. Right, okay. Okay, let's give that a go. That's interesting. Why are those now fighting for space? They shouldn't be. They should just stay up like they did before. Ugh. I don't think I've changed anything about the properties of the fabric. Trim, leather. I might strengthen that just for a little while. I'm not really sure why it's gone all weird, to be honest. You know what? Okay, let us just freeze everything. Wait, I might just do, can I just select that one and that? So you, just freeze. Did I not tell you to freeze? I suppose I don't need to freeze you. And then you, and you. And then should we try again? Hmm. Just this is all experimentation. They kind of look like Batman's wings now, and I don't really like how low this is, so I'm going to move that up. I'm hoping that the sewing will just change to match it. And I'm going to move this into like a weird sort of open shape and hope that yeah, because I still want to see the corset. Right, now that I've done that, I can put this back to I might just put it back to maybe too much orange. No, no, I like orange. Okay, because then I want to do some internal lines. I want to do some circles. Yes. Oh, I've done this wrong, haven't I? I don't want an internal line. I want an internal shape. Because I was going to quilt all of these, but got when I actually got to the point of quilting them, I found that in actual fact it didn't work in the way that I thought it would, and I wasn't sure about it, but let's cut and sew and oh, make that black ribbed, and then we will cut and sew. I really appreciate that you can just double click on one of the lines to select the whole thing. It's a simple pleasure, but I enjoy it. I might also where's opacity? Oh gosh, my neck. That's curve. There we go. I clicked on the wrong thing. I might put that down to maybe 80. Ooh, whoops. I would just type it in. 80. So it's ever so slightly see-through. But yeah, I do want to put more shapes like that in there. I definitely want a circle there. Can I rotate this circle? Oh, yes, I can. I make it slightly wider. And then I'm going to put a circle inside it. Even though now I'm trying to put a circle inside it, it's occurred to me that I could have just copied the circle that I already had. But you know, hindsight. Now the question is, can I cut and sew both at the same time? The question is answered. Yes, I can. And that one's going to be black this time, and that one's going to be green. And that should have done it on both. It did do it on both sides, but of course it didn't. Holes must be placed within a... I don't understand. Oh, I have no idea where I couldn't. Oh, because I was trying to move the actual hole and not the circle. Okay, so I can already see that I might have to increase the mesh here, but we will deal with that when we come to... I think I made that black. I don't know why I'm guessing. I could just look, and I made that green. And then for this one, I made the middle black and the outside green. Right, okay, that is it for me today. I think I'm going to go, but thank you for watching my stream. Bye!